new angle to try and cash in on this real sunlight. Hello, my name is Harper, and I'm a trans man, and today I went to my school's clinic to have my top surgery readiness assessment done. For those who do not know, I live in British Columbia, Canada, and we have a healthcare system called MSP, and through this healthcare system, I am able to get things like surgeries covered for my transition. So top surgery, hysterectomy, and bottom surgery are all covered under MSP. But because it's a public healthcare system, they have to get doctors to assess you and write you letters of recommendation to surgeons, and you get put on wait lists because everybody is funneling through this one system, and so it takes a little bit to process every single person. So on the Transcare BC Provincial Health Services Authority website, which I will leave a link to in the description, what they say under the surgical readiness assessment kind of part is that this is an assessment done by a qualified assessor to confirm that you meet the WPATH standards of care criteria for surgery. Basically, they have to make sure that you meet the standards to be able to be publicly funded for top surgery or for really any surgery. In BC, the amount of letters differs between surgeries. So for top surgery, you need at least one letter from a qualified assessor. For a hysterectomy, I believe you only need one or two. It really depends. Most often you only need one. But for bottom surgery like phalloplasty, metoidioplasty, a vaginectomy, those kinds of things, you need two. So, on to what actually happened at my appointment. My assessor was, I don't know how to say her last name, Gail Knudsen, but I believe she's a psychiatrist here in my city and apparently a qualified assessor. So, my appointment was 45 minutes long. I had it at 10 and it went to 10:45 when I left. So I just quickly wrote down things that we talked about. She asked about my family, so, you know, who is in it, their names, their genders, their jobs, their education, that kind of thing, and how our family dynamic was. She also asked about how they've been since me coming out as trans, and how do they feel about it individually, and if they were supportive of my transitioning and generally me as being transgender, or if they knew it all. I also mentioned a bit later, and so we came back to this kind of familial topic, that I have a partner that I'm living with. I currently live in a basement apartment with my longtime partner, so she asked, you know, his name, what his identity was, and how he felt about it, and how he, you know, has been reacting to me transitioning and stuff like that. She asked me if I was out, how I came out. She asked me about, not childhood signs, but like what led up to me thinking that I was trans or coming to the realization that I was trans. And she told me to think like as far back as I could remember. She asked about my identity and my labels and my pronouns and my name. She asked me if I was on hormones, which I am, and how I felt about those changes. She asked me about what kind of surgeries I want, like other than obviously top surgery. She asked me about my medical history, so she specifically asked me like, you know, did you have asthma as a kid? You know, were there any times you had to go to the hospital for something? Have you had any surgeries before? And then she also asked me about my mental health history, and I mentioned that, you know, I've been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and she then asked me about, you know, any medications that I'm taking, and, you know, how I'm feeling in terms of those. And then she wrapped up the session by saying that she had gotten a kind of overview about me, and then that I still had to come in for one more appointment. So her assistant is going to call me, and we're going to schedule an appointment probably next week, so that might be next week's video. And yeah, she also said that, you know, this appointment is to just talk about the actual surgery, you know, what to expect, how it goes, you know, and probably talk about which surgeons, what technique kind of thing, and aftercare plans, and that she would write me a letter, like, after that, and give it to my doctor here. So that is really exciting. Oh, she also asked me about my legal transition, which I haven't, like, even started yet. And she was like, oh, do you want to change your name in your birth marker, like, legally? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, I can just write you your letter for that and bring in the forms if you want. And I was like, I'm not ready to touch that yet. But yeah, so I know, at least I know that's an option. And yeah, I can't think of anything else to say about this. Just a conclusion, I had my top surgery readiness assessment today on February 15th, 2018, and I have one more appointment for the readiness test, and yeah, I'm going to get my letter written, and it's going to be sent off to the surgeons, and I'm going to be put on the wait list, and I'm really excited about that. Okay, I'm going to go. So, my name is Harper, and I'm signing out. See ya.